Hey everyone, and welcome back to Token Trends Weekly. I'm Max Ledge.
I'm Sasha Coin.
As always, it's awesome to have you here with us, Sasha.
Thanks for having me, Max.
Today we are diving deep into the world of DePIN.
DePIN.
Yeah, so that stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks,
Oh,
and it's pronounced DePIN.
DePIN the guy.
So DePIN is all about building essential infrastructure, but in a brand new way. We're talking internet networks, data storage, even energy grids, all built and managed not by big corporations, but by everyday people.
Exactly. It's about shifting the power from these centralized giants to a distributed network of individuals. DePIN leverages blockchain technology and token incentives to make this happen.
Okay, so instead of relying on, say, Amazon or Google for cloud storage, you can earn rewards for sharing your extra hard drive space with a decentralized network.
Precisely. It's like Airbnb, but for your computer's resources.
That's a pretty radical concept, right?
It is. DePIN is a complete paradigm shift. It's about creating a sharing economy for infrastructure.
And I imagine this could be much more cost effective too, right?
Absolutely. Because you're cutting out the middleman, the costs can be significantly lower. Plus, it aligns incentives in a really powerful way. When individuals are rewarded for contributing to the network, it creates a sustainable and self governing ecosystem.
This all sounds amazing, but I have to admit, I'm still a bit fuzzy on how this actually works. Can you break down the mechanics for us?
Sure. A great example is Helium. They've built a decentralized wireless network for IoT devices using a proof of coverage model.
Proof of coverage.
Yeah. Basically, people set up these things called hotspots. Think of them as mini cell towers.
Okay,
And they earn helium tokens for providing network coverage in their area.
so the more coverage you provide, the more tokens you earn.
Exactly. And those tokens have real world value because they're used to pay for data transmission on the helium network.
So it's like you're getting paid for sharing your internet, kind of.
In a way, yes, it's a self sustaining system where everyone benefits from participating.
Fascinating. But helium's just one example, right? Yeah. What are some other ways these DPN projects are building out these decentralized networks?
Well, there are actually four main sectors of DePIN.
Four.
Yep. Cloud storage networks, wireless networks, sensor networks, and energy networks.
So they're tackling a lot of different areas.
Each sector is focused on a different piece of the infrastructure puzzle.
Okay, let's break down these sectors one by one, starting with cloud and storage networks.
All right, so for cloud and storage, you have projects like Filecoin, Arweave, Sia, and Storage. They're all about decentralizing data storage.
So instead of trusting a single company like Amazon with all my data.
Exactly. Your data is distributed across a network of individuals who are compensated for providing storage space.
It seems like that would be way more secure too.
Yes, much more secure and generally much more affordable as well.
Got it. So that's cloud storage. What about wireless networks? I know we talked about Helium, but are there other projects doing different things in that space?
Oh, absolutely. Some projects are building these decentralized mesh networks that can provide internet in places where traditional infrastructure just doesn't exist.
Like remote areas or developing countries?
Exactly. These mesh networks are super resilient because they don't have a single point of failure. If one part goes down, the rest can keep on going.
Very cool. Okay, what about sensor networks?
Sensor networks are all about using the power of collective data.
Like from all our devices and stuff.
Yeah. Smartphones, cars, cameras, you name it. DeepIn projects are creating platforms where people can share that data securely and actually get rewarded for it.
And that's where HiveMapper comes in, right?
Exactly. HiveMapper is using dash cams to build a decentralized mapping system.
So it's like instead of Google Maps, it's People Maps.
Exactly. They're tapping into the power of the community to build a map that's potentially even better than what the big guys have.
I love that. Okay, last but not least, energy networks. How's DePIN shaking things up in the energy sector?
Oh, this is a big one. DePIN has the potential to revolutionize how we produce, distribute, and even consume energy.
Okay, tell me more.
Think about projects like React and ArcCream. They let people connect their solar panels to this decentralized grid.
Interesting. So, like, instead of relying on the big power companies, you could buy and sell energy directly with your neighbors.
Yeah. It creates this more resilient and efficient energy system. And it could be a total game changer, especially in areas where access to reliable electricity is a huge issue.
DePIN powering entire communities. I love it. So we've got DePIN projects tackling cloud storage, wireless networks, sensor networks, and even energy grids.
That's a pretty impressive range of applications, right?
It is, but is any of this actually working? Or is this all still just, theoretical?
That's a great question, and it leads us perfectly into the next part of our deep dive, where we'll look at some real world DePIN projects that are already making a real impact.
All right, well, I'm definitely ready to hear about those.
So before the break, we were diving into all these cool sectors of DePIN,
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground.
but now it's time to see how DePIN is playing out in the real world.
You mentioned earlier that helium's making some serious waves.
Helium, oh, they're killing it. They have over 900,000 hotspots around the world.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's the biggest LoRaWAN network out there for IoT devices. They're tracking everything from scooters to like air quality. And get this, they're even moving into the phone market. Wait. Yeah, Helium Mobile. It's a phone service built on their decentralized network.
Hold on. So people are actually using their phones on a DePIN network.
They are, and it's just the beginning.
That's amazing. What about those sensor networks? Any success stories there?
Definitely. HiveMapper is a prime example.
HiveMapper, the map guys, right?
Yeah, they've mapped something like 25% of all the roads in the world.
That's insane.
And they did it in under 2 years, all thanks to their community of dashcam users.
That's so cool. So just people driving around are helping build this massive map.
That's the beauty of DePIN. HiveMapper isn't just building a map, though.
What else are they doing?
They're making money. They're selling that map data to companies who need it. Logistics, delivery companies, stuff like that.
So there's actual demand for this. It's not just a cool tech project.
Exactly. DePIN is creating real value. We were talking about GNF before the break, remember?
Yeah, the infrastructure builders.
Well, they've built $1 billion worth of infrastructure.
$1 billion.
Yeah, through contributions from their community. It just shows how efficient this DePIN model can be. You don't need these massive investments from big companies.
That's incredible. But I got to ask, this all sounds amazing, but what about the challenges? What's holding DePIN back?
Well, there are definitely some hurdles to overcome. Regulation is a big one. Governments are still figuring out this whole crypto thing.
Yeah, that's always a wild card.
It makes it tricky for DePIN projects to know what rules to follow. And of course, there's the competition.
The big tech giants.
Yeah, Amazon, Google, they're not going down without a fight.
So how can DePIN even compete?
Well, DePIN projects have a different philosophy. It's about community, fairness, and giving people control over their data.
Right, it's a different approach. Do you think that's enough to make a difference?
I think it's a powerful story to tell. And you know, Masari, that crypto research firm, they're pretty bullish on DePIN.
Sorry?
Yeah, they think it could be one of the hottest trends in an infrastructure next year. They say DePIN is only 0.1% of the cloud market right now.
0.1%. That's tiny.
Exactly. So even a small shift towards DePIN could mean huge growth.
So what does that shift look like? What's the big picture vision for DePIN?
Well, that's what founders and researchers are trying to figure out, and that's what we're going to dive into in the next part of our deep dive.
That's good.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Token Trends Weekly, everyone. So we spent this episode exploring DePIN.
We've seen how it works, looked at some projects that are actually making it happen.
But the big question is, what's next? What's the future of DePIN?
Well, that's what's really exciting. There's so much potential here, and I think one of the most promising areas is how DePIN can solve real-world problems.
Problems that traditional infrastructure just hasn't been able to crack.
Exactly. Like internet access, for example.
Yeah, millions of people around the world still don't have reliable internet.
DePIN could change that. There are projects like Althea, they're building these decentralized mesh networks.
So you're saying these networks could bring internet to places where, like, big telecom companies haven't bothered?
Yeah, without relying on that expensive infrastructure.
So DePIN could actually help bridge the digital divide.
It's a powerful idea.
What other areas could DePIN disrupt?
Well, energy is another big one.
Yeah, with shift to renewables, we definitely need a better system.
And DePIN can provide that. Imagine platforms that let people connect their solar panels to this decentralized grid.
So instead of these huge utility companies, we could have this energy system that's powered by the people.
Exactly. Individuals buying and selling energy from each other, creating this more resilient and efficient system.
I love that. But this is all still pretty early, right? What needs to happen for DePIN to really take off?
Oh, there are definitely challenges. Scalability is a big one. These DePIN networks need to be able to handle a massive amount of data and transactions.
Going to compete with the big guys.
Exactly. And then there's the user experience.
Right now it's probably pretty techy for most people.
Yeah, it needs to be easier for everyday people to get involved. We need more user-friendly tools and interfaces.
And of course, there's the whole regulatory landscape.
Oh yeah, governments are still trying to figure out what to do with crypto.
So how they decide to regulate DePIN could make or break it, really.
Absolutely. But even with these challenges, there's a lot of reason to be optimistic.
We're seeing so much innovation in this space.
And the potential applications are just massive.
It's exciting to think about. I mean, DePIN's really about changing how we think about infrastructure, who controls it, who benefits from it.
It's about a more decentralized and equitable future, giving people more control over their data, their resources.
Moving away from those big tech giants and towards a world where we have more choice, more transparency.
I think that's something worth striving for.
Absolutely. And DePIN could be the key. So as we wrap up this deep dive into DePIN, I want to leave everyone with this.
We've talked about how DePIN can disrupt industries, create a fairer system.
But it all comes down to people getting involved.
If you believe in this vision, don't just sit back.
Contribute to a project.
Spread the word.
Be a part of building this decentralized future.
That's what it's all about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into DePIN. Oh, be sure to subscribe to Token Trends Weekly for more explorations of the crypto world. We'll see you next time.